Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Step Into the Portal. My name is the Brandt. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm going to be teaching and playing my new favorite game of 2021, and that is Ark Nova. I can't actually get the cover out because it's gigantic. Uh, and yeah, I've been totally blown away by this game. I think it's super awesome, and I'm really excited to bring this to you. I really wanted to try to play it two-player. I think I really enjoy it at the multiplayer level a little bit more than the solo, although I don't think they're massively different. But you will see this game is gigantic, and I can barely fit the solo on my table. So there was no way I was going to be able to get through and fit a two-player game, so I figured this would suffice. Basically, the solo game will teach you to play the multiplayer game. There's just a few subtle differences there and whatnot. Please do bear with me. I have had a cold. Luckily, not COVID. I've tested negative for that. But my voice is a little bit less than it normally is, and I'll probably cough a couple times. Apologies for that. But I wanted to get this video out because this is actually not my copy of the game, and it needs to move on because there's a lot of people that want to play it. So I wanted to get this solo play in. So good morning to you. Happy 2021. If you're watching this with me live, if you're watching afterward, this is December 30th, so it may be 2022. So I wish you a happy new year and all sorts of good things in 2022. But let's get to the game. All right, here we go. So here is Ark Nova set up on my table. I even made myself super tiny in the corner here. You're just missing a little piece of the board, but you can see a whole bunch. There's actually two different layouts for this board. So this one faces all the players if you want to play on one side of the table. The other one turns the cards this way so that you can have players on both sides of the table to be able to do that. But for our purposes, we will do it this way. So here you'll see your giant scoreboard. This is your coffee track marker. So this is the major difference in the multiplayer game. On the multiplayer game, you'll take these coffee breaks and you'll trigger everything. And we're going to do it over here on the solo board that's right here. So that's kind of the big difference for that. So we're playing a static number of rounds. In the regular game, you would play a different number. The idea behind Ark Nova is really like a new zoo or a new beginning, right? Like Noah's Ark kind of style, Nova meaning new. And you're trying to create a new beginning, a new chance for animals to survive and thrive. And so you're doing that both through appeal in your park. You want to create a zoo that has interest. So you'll see these tickets that go around the outside, as well as through conservation projects to keep the animals safe. And that's this green track. If you've played Rajas of the Ganges before, then this will have a very similar feel, and that you're trying to get these two markers to meet. So this one's coming this way, and this one's coming along this way, and when they cross, that means in the solo game that you have won, and it means in the regular multiplayer game that you trigger endgame and everybody gets one more turn. Everybody except that player gets one more turn, and then you'll do your final scoring. And there's not a ton of final scoring. There could be a bit, but it's pretty much focused around that. So you can generally tell who's winning and how you're going to do unless you've got some players that are close. If you are here in the chat, go ahead and feel free to say hello to me if you have any questions about the game. If you're watching afterward, do the same. You can comment down below, and I will help you out. So then we've got our player board here, which is our individual zoo. I am playing with map 5. You don't necessarily need to be able to see that. The game suggests you start with map A, which is generic for everyone, but I like the idea of the asymmetric map, so I'm going to play one I haven't played before here. And there's a little bit of setup with the different elements, which I'll go through so you can see that. And then over here, you've got your association board, and you've got these various tokens laid out, as well as some conservation projects that can be worked on. And then this is actually my hand of cards. I should keep that face down for you. Okay. So those are the major kind of pieces of the game. You'll see some tokens and upgrades you get here, and then we've got our solo board. Oh, and below it, this is where the whole game is run, from these action cards down here. So it's just like in Civilization: A New Dawn, if anybody's played that game before. So when I want to take an action, I'm going to slide that card down to show that's the action I'm doing. And then the cards will say like, oh, you do at X, and X would be the number 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So I get to build with a strength of 4, and that means I can build buildings of size 1, 2, 3, or 4, which is the number of hexes they're going to cover on my board here. And then that card will slide to the end. At the start of the game, the animals card always starts on the left, and the other 4 cards get shuffled randomly for each player and placed out. Also, these cards can be upgraded which we'll talk about as we upgrade them, and you can flip them over to get more powerful abilities. I've got my associates. I like to call them board members, but these are the associates. These are the workers that can come over here. It's not worker placement in the sense of blocking. It's really just selecting, and then I get to draft a tile. That wouldn't be there in the multiplayer game. In the solo game, I can never take a tile more than once, so there's basically just all these tiles out here. Is the idea. So let's get to the cards, because really the game comes down to playing cards, and there's 3 different types of cards. So I'm going to zoom in here. Perfect. This is my starting money. All right, so there's 3 different types of cards. So the main type of card you're going to see are going to be animal cards. Okay? And so there's different animal cards. You'll see this one. You'll see this one here. So first thing you want to look at is kind of their size and their cost up here. So this is the size of the animal. So they need to be in a structure of that size. So I've got the structures over here. I'll try to show this. So there's a case holding all of these. I'm setting it off to the side because, again, more that won't fit on my table if I put it on the table. So I would have to have a size 2 structure to hold that animal in. I would have it built on my board, and then I would flip it over to show that something is living in there. Once something's living in there, it doesn't matter which animal's there. It doesn't track that, so you don't have to worry. This is going to be the cost to bring that animal into my park. Oh, hello, Joe. Good to see you. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, you are watching me play my #1 game of the year. So I would pay that much money. And then I would trigger these abilities down here. So this one has Venom. Every player ahead of you on the appeal track gains 1 Venom. In solo play, instead it's Inventive, and I gain 1 of these X tokens instead. So these down here is telling me what to do in solo play. And then I would gain 4 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I put animals into my zoo, I'm gaining appeal and moving up on that track. Some animals instead will give you conservation. So I would move up on the conservation track up over there, as well as reputation. Ooh, which I missed that on the card track. I'll show you that. So that's what this cap is. And then again, I would get appeal here. I'm going to make sure I reset that so I don't forget. Sometimes animals require other things, like this would require a science tag. So I would need a token that has at least 1 science microscope on it. And in addition, they will give you these. So this would count as an animal, and it would count as from Asia. So when I'm looking at conservation projects, or maybe animals that require me to have another animal for Asia or a bird, then I can look at that. Up here, you'll also see like this one needs to be next to water. This one needs to be next to rocks, which are on my board. And this symbol means I could opt to put this animal in a bird aviary. So I could build the aviary and then put the bird in there, and I can hold more birds in the aviary, which I think might be my strategy for this game. So I will show you that. All right. The other types of cards are conservation projects and sponsors. So sponsors come into play with the sponsors card here. So that cost is just the value that the card has to be at in order to play it. And then it gives me a permanent ability, which is also labeled up here. So if I stack them, I have them. So animals don't have ongoing abilities. Sometimes they'll have endgame, but sponsors pretty much typically have ongoing abilities. Anytime a primate is played into a zoo anywhere, I get 3 money. So that's going to be a better card in multiplayer than necessarily in solo. And then these are the conservation projects. So these will tell you, requires water icons in your zoo. So remember this platypus that had the water icon? I would need to have a certain number of those. So 2, 4, or 5 to score 2, 3, or 4 conservation points. Joe Don. It's 2 names in 1. No problem, Joe Don. That's awesome. All right. So that's how many conservation points. So this would get played from my hand, and I could play this out. You saw just to the right here, I had some conservation cards that were in play from the start. These are ones I could play and add to my hand with the association action using this worker. And I could play this. I would pick the level that I'm successful, and I would get to take a token off my board. I'll show you that in a minute when I go through the association action. And then this would go into the display for other players to complete. In solo, I basically can just have 2 of these out, is going to be the idea. Okay, and then I start my game with 8 cards in hand, so I actually have 8 of these total cards, but those are only 3 types of cards in my hand. So then we'll go through the actions. So the first action here is animals. So you can see here, it's basically the value is the number of animals I can play. It has nothing to do with the size of the animal. It has to do with the number of animal cards I can play. So I can add this many animals to my zoo. 0, 1, or 2 in this case. All right, and then that card would slide to the end. The association task, this is where I would take one of my workers and I would place it over on that association board, and I would pick a task up to X. The 5th space on that board, and I'll show you that again when I zoom out, is the one that would allow me to play a conservation card or go on to a conservation card that's already in play. The build action lets me build one building with a maximum size of X, so I could build up to 5, and it just costs double its size. It's pay 2 per space, double its size worse. There's also kiosks and pavilions. Kiosks will score money during the income phase. Pavilion will gain money. The pavilion will score points immediately, appeal for all the spaces around it, so I can get appeal quickly. The standard enclosure is what I'm building, and then there's a petting zoo, which is like the bird aviary that I talked about. You can only put petting zoo animals in there, but you can store more, and they score quickly, because everybody wants a petting zoo at their zoo. The sponsors lets me play a sponsor card from my hand up to that value, or I can gain money equal to that value, reset, and do the break token. In solo, I just don't do the break, so I just gain whatever it says, and the break token doesn't move up. But normally that break token would basically trigger an income phase. It would also reset some cards and a few other things. It's not very complicated there. And then there is the cards action. So the cards action lets me break for 2. Again, in the solo game, that won't do anything, but in the regular game, it would move up on that track, which is variable based on player count. And then based on the value, I draw and discard cards. So when I draw, I always draw from the deck. When I upgrade, I can then draw from the cards in the display. So I can draw 1 and then discard any 1 card from my hand, or draw 1, draw 2, discard 1, draw 2, draw 3, discard 1, or this little ability right here is called snapping, which actually relates, I've realized, to alligators. Alligators have the snapping ability. That's where that came from. And snap lets me just pick any 1 card from the display. So if there's a card that's out there that I really want, I can get it that way. So those are my 5 cards. So then I will zoom out again. Oh, sorry. Before I zoom out, lastly, there are these endgame scoring cards, and you're going to get 2 endgame cards. You hold them, and when a player passes a certain threshold on the score track, specifically the conservation track, everybody has to discard 1, which is neat because from the beginning you kind of have 2 paths you can go, and as the game goes on, once you get to that point, you really know, okay, I'm going down this path and I'm not going for the other one. So these will give you endgame conservation points. Again, conservation kind of jumps a little further on the track, so they're worth a little bit more, based on the values that you satisfy there. All right, so those are our cards. Let me zoom us back out. That should be good right there. Okay, so this is the association board that I was talking about. So when you take workers, you can come over here. Here I would get 2 reputation, which moves me up on this track, which gives me access to higher cards and eventually abilities that trigger as I get on the track. This one here lets me take a partner zoo. So I can take that partner zoo, put it on my board, bottom up, and it makes any animal that has that tag on it cost 3 less for me to put into my zoo. And I get abilities, specifically this ability right here, which I know might be a little small for you to see, but it is the upgrade a card ability. So that's how I can flip over a card to get its more powerful action. There's one here, there's one here, there's one on the conservation track here, and there's one on the reputation track here. So I believe there's only 4. I've only ever seen 4 that you're able to flip. So that's what these do. I can only have 1 of each of these in my zoo. In fact, I can only have 4 of the 5. Over here, I get a university. When I get the university, I put it on my universities track. Again, moving up, and that's going to give me microscope icons, which I might need for certain animals to have the science. This one lets me hold more cards. When I get to the coffee break, which I'll just go over when I get there, instead of being able to hold 3 cards, I can hold 5 cards. And last, when I come over here, I can complete a conservation project. So I already kind of showed you that, but I get to pull one of these tokens off my board over here. And if I pull off of this purple section, I immediately get the ability. And then on a coffee break, I get that ability again. So it's like an ongoing resource. If I come over here, then I get this ability 1 time. So I can build something in my park 1 time. So those are really neat to have. We got a copy from Europe. When would our store be getting a copy? I don't know. I talked to Capstone Games. I talked to Clay over there and Tim. and it seemed like everything was going well with shipping this, and it was coming off the boat like late December, early January, and they were looking at a February-ish release. I don't want to hold them to that because shipping has obviously been out of whack, but I think North America is looking at something like February or at least early 2022 for the release of Ark Nova. Yep. Yeah, Luke, Hector, and Tom Vassell were number one. Oh, thanks. And Joe Don listened to that podcast with the Kirby's that I did on Monday. Thanks so much. Yeah, they were a blast to have on. They they definitely stole the show. That was fun. They were fun people to talk to. Cool. So that's it. I am going to start the game. There's just some tokens here. When I pass this, I get this upgrade. So I'm just going to go through some of that stuff. Same with the coffee break. When I get there, I'll go through it. I've got tokens off on the side of the board here because I can't fit everything up on my table. I've got a little bit of income here because that was figured was all I needed. So I put that over here. I think I've got most of it down. There's a bunch here, so I'll work my way through it. I may make one or two mistakes, but I definitely won't make a boatload of mistakes. I've got this game down now. I've got a solo play-in and 2 multiplayer plays, so it is 3 games of it, and it's a pretty long game, so we're going to jump in. I'm probably going to play pretty fast so that I can show off the game more than show off my skills. All right, so the first thing I have to do is discard down to a certain number of cards. So I could go for this, but it's probably a little bit early. I've only got 1 aquatic in my hand, so that one's going to be out. I'm going to go for these large animals. That was my card. And I'm going to try to get an aviary as soon as possible. So I'm going to go with that. Petting zoo is a pretty quick way to get appeal as well, so I may do that and see if I can build that early on. And I'll hold this sponsor card just because I can get it down. So these cards are going to be out. That is my plan. Once everybody's picked, then you flip over the cards that are in the center. And there's so many cards. I will attempt to read these to you as need be. All right. So here are my cards. So it is time for my first action. So remember, actions are I take one of these cards. The reason they have you slide it down, especially when you're first learning, is sometimes you think you understand the mechanism, and then you go, oh, shoot, I don't want to do that. And if you've already moved the card, you might forget where it came from. So it is a pretty good habit to just slide the card down. I will definitely try to do that for teaching purposes with people. No problem, Joe Don. Thank you for watching. All right, so I don't necessarily need more cards in my hand. I do have a sponsor. I think I'm going to start with building a building. So I can build a building up to size 3. So I am going to go ahead and build a petting zoo. So a petting zoo is a size 3 building. It is already ready to go. So the only other rule in the basic game, they start you with a building, and that's where you have to build off of. In the, I don't know, this version, right? I hate to call it regular game, because I think when you even play the beginning, it's good too. But you have to build along the edge and then connect all the way through. So this building right here is kind of my main building, and for every adjacent covered space around it, I can earn an additional income. So I kind of want to build towards that. So money's going to be the precious thing in the beginning. So I'm going to start on this edge right here. When I cover this up, I get $5. So I'm going to take those dollars and I'm going to work my way towards that middle one. And now I've got my petting zoo here and I can still complete that at some point. If you fill your whole board, you can't build on rocks and water, but if you fill everything else, you get 7 appeal right off the bat. So that can be a way to try to win the game. And then as soon as I take an action, I slide one of these tokens over. So basically, there's going to be 6 rounds. The first round I get 7 actions, then 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, and the game is over. So I only get a certain number of actions, and I didn't state that. In the solo game, I'm just trying to get my conservation to cross with my appeal. I'm supposed to start at 20 here and get these to cross over. They suggest backing it up to 10 if that's too easy, and to 0. The other difference, though, is I'm starting with a board that's not quite built, so I've given myself a little bit of a handicap. Oh, give me 1 second. Okay, sorry. Drop something. Need to get that. Okay, here we go. So on to my next action. So I want to get this. Oh yeah, notice that slides everything up. I want to get this rabbit in my zoo so I can start to increase my appeal a little bit so I get a little bit more income. So I am going to do that early. So I'm going to do my animals action, which at level 2 lets me put 1 animal into my zoo. So this domestic rabbit, of which I have a domestic rabbit named Misty. He is a gray lop ear. Will cost me 7, so I pay the 7. Then these cards just basically go on the table. You only really need to track the sponsor cards. And I take one of my cubes that are over here. These are just for random other things. And I put it in the petting zoo because that's where this one has to go. And then it says gain 3 for each petting zoo animal icon in your zoo. So you always trigger cards' abilities after you play the card. So it would count as being in there. So I would get 3 for playing it. All right, there we go. Action 2. All right, now I'm trying to figure out... Oops, I got to remember to slide these down. I'm trying to figure out how to upgrade quickly. So I see both of these. So I think I want to go get tags as fast as I can. Really want to get to one of those. Do I need these if I'm trying to hold for larger animals? I could increase my reputation, or I could go get these to make costs cheaper. Let's focus on costs. Oh, down here I'm trying to get European animals, different icons in my zoo, and different continents in my zoo. So yeah, I think these make sense. And these would count as those icons. So let's do our association action at level 3. I only have 1 worker. These ones have to be unlocked. So I'm going to place that here. I'm actually going to place it this way. I think it's easier for the camera. And I've either got European or Asian. Is there one that I like better or worse? Ooh, that one's going to be tough because I need to upgrade animals to play it. So let's focus on this one. So I'm going to get the Asia token. It goes here, and now those animals cost me 3 less. There's my 3rd action. All right. So I've got my sponsors, I've got my cards. I could draw more cards to see what I get for petting zoo. So again, you can't really draw cards from here till you upgrade. I don't see too many things. I'm focusing on large animals. So this one and this one are interesting. I could build again because I could get income coming around here. I'd like to get that a little bit higher because I could cover 2 spaces and try to grab a card. I don't think this primate card matters to me at all. So sponsor could give me money, but maybe just cards makes the most sense. So let's do the cards action. Oops, see, I'm already not following it. So card says I can either snap at level 5 or draw 3 and pick one. So again, they have to be from the deck. Sorry, draw 3 and discard 1. So I'm going to draw these ones here. Got a few things, nothing that can go in my petting zoo, and I know already that I'm not really going to try to play this card, so I'm going to discard that one. And then see, expert on Africa, so I could get that. Each time you play an Africa icon in your zoo, you can place any action card in slot 1, and I can earn some tickets and things from this, or appeal. Still looking for those petting zoo animals. Get that early thing going, but now I think I will build, and I guess I could have built smaller, but I could build one potentially for the future. If I take from here, it's going to have to be this one, huh? Each time you gain the placement bonus of a border space, you gain another free placement bonus. Got it. That's okay, but it requires a microscope, which will be a little bit tricky. Do I want to build that to increase my income? Sure. Let's not overthink. So we're going to pay 8 to build a size 4. So 23 minus 8 will give us 15. We're going to build a size 4 building, and we're going to place it here. So that's going to be 2 adjacent to this, which is going to give us income. It also covers this one, which lets us either draw 1 within our reputation range, which would have to be this, or 1 off the top of the deck. So we'll take this one off the top of the deck. It's another size 5, and it's a primate. So we're getting there. Now we've got too many cards on our hand is going to be one of the tricky spots that we're in. Let's see, did I already mess this up? I did build, I did animals, I did association, I did cards, I did build again. All right. Wow, yeah, we're almost getting to our break already. So I could try to get one of these cards down. If I put this one down, I get points for tokens. I get the Africa, which I actually need over here to get different icons. So it's not a terrible idea. Or do I just want money? And then I'll just discard some of these cards. I still like my idea. Oh, maybe I should have built for my snowy owl. Maybe that was dumb. Or I could put him in there, huh? That might actually work out pretty well. All right, so then I'm going to do animals. I can play one animal. I'm using that size 4. That's okay. So I'm going to put the cougar in there. So I might have built that one too big. I probably could have built it smaller, but it covers out of the space, so it was worth it. Oh, this should be face down too. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to put this one in there. With my animals, it's going to cost me 10. So I pay 10, and then I flip this over. And then the cougar advances the break token 3 spaces, which I don't have to worry about, but I am going to move my token over there and do this while I'm remembering it. And then I gain 3. And then I gain 5 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I apologize. If I miss any of this stuff, it's not lack of knowing. It's just being on camera. I'm not nervous to be on camera. It's just trying to make sure I vocalize everything. Whereas if I'm playing by myself, I'm not vocalizing everything that I'm doing. And so it's easier to be forgetful. That's all that comes down to. But I think we're good so far. All right. So we got one more action until we take the break, which means we're going to have to go down to 5 cards. I don't have this, otherwise I would go and grab this hand size one, so I didn't have to worry about that as much. I'm still trying to get to here, so that I can unlock that ability to get the aviary, although that's working out kind of funny now. So I don't think I want to do this one. I think I might just sponsor. So that's either play this card or get 5 money. I think early on I'm going to take 5 money. So I'm going to play that at level 5 to get 5 money. That's going to then trigger a break. So now what I do on a break is over here. First off, I take the top cube and I put it over here. I didn't explain this, but when I upgrade my association card to level 2, I can now make donations to increase my conservation. So that is blocking that space. It represents that the other player bought that space before I could get to it. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Then I have to discard from 5 cards down to 3. So I don't think I'm going to end up playing this card. And I'm not going to play this one, unfortunately, because it has 2 primate tags. So that ship has sailed. So I'm going to discard down to 3. So that's the only time you have a hand limit. And then I get rid of any of the tokens, the interactive tokens, and keep going from there. I guess, is that actually made to go over that? No. All right. Then I just carry on with what it says here. So now I would reset. I get these back. Normally you would refill in any empty spaces for other players to get, but since it's solo and I can't get them more than once, I don't have to worry about that. I discard the front 2 cards, and it shows it here and here, just so you can see. It shows there. Slide everything over and fill in with new cards. So that's how new cards come out. Oh, there's another aviary one. So we're looking towards that bird being good. And then I collect my income. So my income is going to be right here with my appeal. So I get 19. That's 20. And then I look for any things along the side, any other cards I have. Mainly for me, it's right here. So each of these spaces next to this visitor center will give me 1 money. So I get 2 more bucks. So I've got $34 to work with, which is pretty good. All right. So my first thing is going to be my association action. I am going to take it to go. I need a microscope, so I may weigh on that. I'm going to come here. I can go up to level 5, so I could do these conservation projects, but I don't have anything good. I'm going to take this one. Oh, no, I don't want to do that because I want to get this. All right, so I do need to come here. My bad. I want to go there so that I can upgrade to level 2 and build my aviary. Although then I'm going to need the microscope. Ugh, what a pain. Do I keep waiting and put the barn owl in? Yeah, I might do that actually. We'll play this a little different. So we'll get the microscope. We'll go here. And we will increase our reputation by 2, which puts us here. So now we have access to this card. And we have our microscope. This will slide down. Oops, I forgot to reset all these. And that's my first action of this round. All right. So now I've got to figure out what to do. I'm just struggling to play animals. So I can build. I was super close to being able to do that, huh? I probably did that in a weird order. Do I need to take that back? No, because I can't play this bird until I get the microscope, so the order doesn't really matter. Although I could build the aviary and then go back and get it. All right. So we're going to double back on that, I guess. And what are we looking at instead? Looks like Europe. So we'll get Europe. Europe's going to allow us to flip this card instead. We're going to back up 2 on this track. I think because I want to be able to build sooner rather than later. And get that aviary in there, which should fit right in here nicely. All right. So we have a plan for that. All right, so this one I could snap, and I could take any card, which means I could go and take this one and get it in my hand. Although I might just be forced to discard, but I think I will do that. I'm going to go get this King Vulture, since I'm focusing so heavily on birds. I snap. I bring that one in. So again, snapping is just taking any card from the table and using it. And then I would refill that. Now I can build. So this one, actually, now that I've upgraded, I can build 1 or more different buildings, so they can't be the same. And I also can build the aviary and the reptile house. But it has to be up to 5, so that's the largest I have. So I'm going to build the aviary, which specifically looks like this. It will cost me 10, because it's 2 per space. And it looks like it will fit nicely right in there. This space that I'm covering, unfortunately, unless I do this a different way, of which I don't see a different way. Yeah, so we're just going to go with this. Excuse me. This space lets me play a sponsor card for my hand and just pay its value in money to put it into play, which would be really good, but we're just going to sacrifice that ability because I don't have any sponsor cards in my hand. Again, might not be the most optimal play, but we're going for showing off the play of the game rather than the most optimal play. I still like this move, though. I don't think it's a huge hindrance. Okay, so now I can play 2 birds, but I can't move that over because I need to get that token. So I just need to set up. So I think I'm going to try to get this barn owl in. So I'm actually going to take the build action again. I'm going to pay 2. The barn owl just needs a size 1. So I'm going to go right here and place that. When I do that, I get an X token, so I can show off what those do. So X tokens allow me to take any action and increase it by 1. So I discard this. I can have a maximum of 5 of them. I can discard them all at once. And that will allow me to increase something to a higher value. So now, so close. So close. Oh, by the way, now that this is upgraded, I can also build on these spaces which are blocked until I upgrade. All right, if I had another worker, I could do that association task, but I do not, so I cannot. This is the only animal I could play, and that is fine. We're going to do it. So I'm going to play my barn owl, which costs 12. I had 22, so I get 10 back. I can technically play 2 animals, but I only have 1. So I play the barn owl here, completing that space. And perception is draw 4 cards from the deck, add 2 to my hand. I also get 3 appeal. So I draw 4 and I can add 2. Release an animal with an Asian icon into the wild. Okay. If you play a large animal, you may ignore 1 condition of your choice. Hey, that's good. We're going to have to take this action. Let's not forget. Western Green Mamba has Venom and the Northern Plains. So these ones aren't big enough, so I'm going to hold these 2, hoping I can use them. And in fact, I'm going to... Oh, man. Darn it. That one needs a lot of stuff. That was going to be good. But that one requires that this card is flipped over and that my reputation is 6. So I'm not going to be able to get that one out as easily. So I'm probably just going to end up discarding these 2 cards because I still want to hold on to these large animals and these birds. Although I haven't been doing a great job playing large animals thus far. So we can sponsor. We can't do association. We don't want to draw more cards. So I think we're just back in the same boat as our last action being sponsor. And it's funny. I've had games really can be quite different from the start. I feel like once you get to a certain point, it's there. But I've had games where I've had lots of sponsor cards and I'm just dropping them. The game I played, multiplayer, 4-player, I had whenever a primate gets played, whenever a reptile gets played, whenever herbivore gets played, you get money. And I was just getting money from people playing cards. And that was a really neat start. My zoo wasn't building up, but my income was doing really well. So that was working out well there for me. All right. That is the last one before a coffee break. So we're going to take this one. We lose out on that. We're going to slide these back over. We're going to discard down. And unfortunately, it's going to be these 2 cards that we just acquired. We are then going to pitch these 2. Sorry about the sniffling. Actually, give me 1 second here. All right. Awesome. And then we will discard those 2 cards and collect our income. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In addition to 20, so 25 is pretty good. So we're doing well on money. That is not our big issue. It's our spacing and our patterning that's hurting us a little bit more. So we're on to round 3 of 6. This is going fast, and our conservation hasn't moved at all. So this is the big round. It's now or never. All right, we're going to do association as our first action. I'm going to try to remember to slide those over. We're going to come over here. We're going to grab our microscope. So we have that, and we're going to get 2 reputation to move up on this track. And that is going to be that action. Ooh, hold on. This barn owl cost me 3 less because it is European. And I had the European tag, so I want to make sure I don't miss that. All right. Now we are going to... All these animals are going to go in there. We just need to upgrade that again, huh? We get that from anybody? We're going to get 1. Where are we going to get 1 more conservation? Once we have that down, we're going to have... not quite what we need. All right, do we want to build more? Do we want to draw more cards? Do we want to snap something into our hand? Barred Owl Hut. Each time you play a bird icon into your zoo, draw 2 cards from the deck. Keep 1 and discard the other. Okay, I like that. We want to do that. It's a 6. So I don't know how soon we're going to get that done. We can play this vulture as of now. Right? And then... that might be our best play, because we're not going to be able to play 2 of these. All right, so we will do animals. Am I being dumb? Do I want to get that card? If I want to get that card, I got to get sponsors up, which means I need X's, so I need to cover things with X's. I have 1X, but it's going to be at least 3 actions, so I'm going to have to do these ones. So maybe we draw cards first to see what we get. All right. So we will draw... Oh, we're snapping, so we're taking that card into our hand, right? Okay. Got it. So we'll take that card and see if we can make it work. We're delaying a little bit here, which might not be our best plan. All right. So then, after that... you can play animals back to back, but I'm going to be 1 tag short of being able to play this one. So yeah, I just don't see a way. I need more X symbols to be able to do that. So I can build at this point. If I do that, I can get an X here, which means that will get up to 4. Okay. All right, we've got a little plan here. How am I going to build? Because I can build more than 1 building. I need to cross this X. I can also slide something to the back if I want to. Not my favorite. All right, so let's build size 4. I can build a 1 and a 4. So we're going to build a 1 and a 4 because we're still going for big buildings. So that's going to cost us 10. So we've got a 4 and a 1. So the 1 is going to go here. We can cover this because we have level 2 building. So we're going to go there. Slide this back. I've just done those 3. And we're going to get another X token. Hopefully this is a good plan. We will see. We will see. All right. So now we will do sponsors. And actually play that card. So +2, so this one's a 6. We're going to slide that over. So now we play that card. When we play that card, we get this barred owl, which I need to find. Bear with me. Ooh, I think I found it. All right, there's the Barred Owl Hut. It is a straight 3, so we can see if we can use that to get anything else for ourselves. That lets us move 1 to the end. Or we can cover some ground here, come over here, draw a card. All right, so I guess we'll do this. So that lets us move a card to the end. I can't do another association task because I don't have another worker. So I will move that one to the end, as well as I can take a card from out here. So we just built a level 4. We do need European tags. I could take this little one. Are there any more birds? Or I could just draw a card and see what I get. I guess we'll see what we get. It is an alligator. Nope, a Chinese water dragon, excuse me. All right. Okay, and then our last action, we can now place 2 animals. So we will place this vulture, long-billed vulture. So it's a 4, has to go next to rocks, which the aviary is. It costs 20, but we have the Asian tag, so it's going to cost us 17. So 27, we get 10 back. We do that, we move this up 1. We increase our conservation by 1, and we increase our upheal by 5. We've also played a bird, so each time you play a bird icon in Jizu, draw 2 cards, keep 1. And we'll see if we draw another bird that we could play. Whoa, look at this microscope chaos. That looks awesome, but we're going to skip on that. And look at that, lo and behold, we drew a bird. It requires the tag for, oh, actually 1, 2, 3 bird icons, right? So now we can actually play this one. Oh, look at this. All right. So we could play the white stork, or we could play this one. We're adding cards. This one we're going to double our build action. This one we're going to get 9 appeal, though. So let's go for that. Oh, sorry. So we put that bird in the aviary, so we block one space. So then, this one is bigger for endgame. I'm trying to figure out. If I scavenge, I'm going to draw, and then my hand size, I'm going to have to discard. But for the appeal, we're going to do this one. So this one is cheaper, though, money-wise. Listen to me. All right, I'm switching. So we're going to put this white stork in here, which is going to cost us 6 because we're -3 with the European tag. I don't know where that buck went. All right, gone. Oh, right here on my cards. So we're going to put that one in. We're going to get the ×2. So the next time I take the build action, I can build twice. And we're going to gain 4 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4. So how do we gain 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We would have gotten 2 more bucks, but we were paying $6 more to put it out. So I was a little wishy-washy on that. Now I wish I drew the card that needs bird tags, because now I got bird tags up the wazoo. All right, then we draw 2, keep 1, discard the other. So here's a playground that gives 4 appeal. Here's an alligator that has snapping. We already have that one, so we're going to keep this playground, and then we're going to argue our way through these cards here. What we want to do and don't want to do. Okay, so that started to work, and we now have 1, 2 large animals. So 2 large animals actually giving us 2 conservation points at the end. We really want to go for 4 then. If we can get 2 more, so I actually feel like suddenly this plan is coming around. Now our conservation is very low. We need to move that quickly, which means we need to complete one of these. We do have 2 here, so we could use that to move up. We've got animal. We've got 3 for this one, which could give us 2. Continents. We've got 1, 2, 3 different continents. So we could go get 1 more of these, but we can't place that until we level. So we may have to do this next, grab things here, and see where we go. All right, we're on a coffee break, so this one is coming up here. We have not been going for that, so that's not happening. We're resetting all of these. We're going to pitch a card. So I'm going to get rid of this Chinese water dragon, although funny enough, I have a space for it to go. But I can sell cards from my hand. Definitely want this bird. Can definitely play this bird now. Are we going to upgrade animals? It's not bad, but it's going to go. All right. We're going to get rid of these 2. This is going to slide down. Also, if we can move up 1 more here, we can upgrade a card. So, feels like we're far from the end, but we'll see what we can do. All right, reset those abilities, reset those cards. Got our worker back. I really could use another worker here. That's hurting me a little bit. And then we are collecting income, which is 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we get 28 bucks, which is pretty good. That gives us 38. All right. And away we go. Next round. So we only got 4 actions this round. So we've got building. We've got this one we can sponsor. Next to rocks. Oh, okay. This will actually be pretty good. So we're going to do our sponsor action. We're going to play our child's playground. Let me tell you, the last time I brought my daughter to this giant outdoor, like you drive around and see all the animals, she wanted to go to the playground that they had. That was like her thing. She was on that playground. I mean, she definitely liked the animals and everything, but the playground was a big deal for her. So this is no joke what they've got here. That's the water slide one. Yeah, it's supposed to be the playground. They always show a yellow background, but then they're different on these, so you just got to watch out for that. It can be a little bit confusing. I feel like it would have helped to put the color. Of course, the rules suggest you lay them all out on the table, which is perfectly fine if you have a giant table and you're playing with 4 players, which, you know, something we've had at the store and whatnot. So that's going to go here. It has to go next to rocks. It's going to go here. I'm not worrying about filling in my whole park. And that's going to increase me on my reputation here by 1. Now that that is increased, I can change one of these. So I really want to be able to play this, right? This one allows me to get conservation points. which I might do association next, because then I could move up here. Yeah. There we go. All right. So I'm going to flip my association. My next action is then going to be the association action, so I can do any number of actions, place any number of workers, totaling up to my values, so 3. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to get a tag, and I'm going to get the... I'm going to get the Australian tag. The reason I did that is I now have 1, 2, 3, and 4 different tags in my park, so I can come do this one at some point. I can also place a cube here for $7. So in addition, I can make a donation because now I'm on level 2. Okay, so that gives me 1 conservation point. When I do that, I can then either gain another worker or I can flip another card, which is actually tricky here. Oh no, I'm going to flip this card over, animals. And now that allows me to place 2 animals even at this level, and I can also place them from my reputation range. So I could put these ones here. Of note, the size of the pens for the animals can be that size or larger. So the level 2 can go in the level 4. I just gave it too much space, which is okay, I guess, in this case. All right, so this one requires a primate. Otherwise, I would play that one. So we're going to do animals. And we're just going to play these 2 from our hand, and each time we get to draw more cards, so we'll see how that goes. After finishing the current action, play an additional action. Well, there you go. All right, so we're going to play 2. So this one is the King Vulture. We're going to get 8 back. I'm going to slide this over so I don't forget. We're going to place that bird in our aviary. We've got plenty of symbols, so we scavenge 5, shuffle the discard pile, draw 5, and keep 1. I love that this game doesn't have the look through the discard pile. Everything is like draw a certain number and keep some number of those cards. That massively cuts down. In a 4-player game, this discard pile is no joke. All right, aquatic we don't have, otherwise I'd love to get that. This large animal one, still no good. Border spaces, I may just... That would give me the primate to then be able to go get that one. I'd have to have the African tag, though, and I don't have it. All right, so we're going to take the stoat. So we have that one. We also get 9 for the King Vulture, so we're at 49. Ugh, I don't know if these are going to meet. All right, then I can build a second animal. Build sounds so weird. That one costs 20. Minus 3 is 17. And that one's going to give me 7 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And put another bird in my aviary. Look at my aviary. It's just flying up there. This is going to move to the bottom. Oh, sorry. I played a bird. I did it twice. So I draw 2, keep 1. This one needs 2 herbivores, and I don't have any, so I'm going to take this one instead. And then I do it again, because I forgot. I don't have my sponsorship up. Take 1 card from the deck. All right. So I will take this Tasmanian Devil. Ooh, and I do have that tag. All right, so now I can do, after finishing the current action, perform 1 additional action. So I get a free action here to do whatever I want. What I want to do is this, but I need to get this up to level 5. So I could do this build action. I'm like way out of money. Could draw cards, but I'm going to be discarding them. This little guy would just push me a little farther, but that's not actually going to give me money. This one would give me 4. That doesn't give me any money, but it does give me 1 reputation. There isn't a good action here. I could get money with my sponsors, because I'm still not doing well with that. All right, let's just get money. 3 will get me to 5. And it moves up my association a little further. And then I could snap to draw a card. If there's something on here, this is going to go away. And I kind of like the idea of getting that out in my 4-pen. So I could play this one and that one. So I think I will do that. I will snap as my last action, take this into my hand. These will all move up. And now I've got build and association essentially where they need them, although, yeah, it's going to be tricky. But we'll try to get all these things into play. All right, that finishes another round, so we're going to cover this space here. These are going to reset. Sorry, so now we finished round 4, round around 5. These should have moved forward. I have to discard a card. I think this is going to be the guy here. I want to play these two. Yeah, I guess I'll get rid of this one. Who knows if I'll regret that. Discard these two, slide everything down. Lots of card play in this game. So my appeal's going up a bunch. My conservation, I always find conservation to be tricky. The best way to get conservation up is to do this association action. We're gonna pound through a bunch of that here soon, so we should do well. We just got to figure out a way to build. And then we're going to gain income. 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. I haven't done any of these, though, huh? That's going to hurt me a little bit. All right. So now we're looking at being able to build both of these. We've got 1, 2, 3. We just don't have Africa, right? So I think we're going to have to take this one. What about different tags of animals? I think we only got 3. If we put this down, we have 4. So we could put these animals in first. I don't have a 2 for this one. So I would need to build that 2. If I do that, then I'd have 4 different, which also gives me 3. 1, 2, 3. I got 4 European, so that's actually my best spot. I bet you anything that one I discarded was European, huh? Yep. So I could have done that. It could have been a decent play, putting that stoat down. All right. So I think we will build a pen for this guy and then try to get this one down. So we're going to build. So we can build twice. We're going to need a decent amount of money, but I'm going to take the 12 money from here because I don't really have a lot more times I'm going to get money. So these ones are going to cost me -3, so 29, 26. So I've got 11 to build with, and I could build twice. Whew, that's a lot. So if I put a pavilion there, I believe the pavilion is 1 per completed building. Hello! Dale, the zoo is coming along well. This game is super fun. It's a little dry on the theme unless you like building zoos, which I think is awesome to build a zoo. I just think it's neat to think about like conservation and all those kind of things. The solo mode is to get these 2 to wrap around, so we're going to see how that goes. I'm trying to remember what a pavilion does, and I'm considering building a pavilion. I think it's immediately for every completed building. I just don't see it right here off the top. Symbol, symbol, symbol. Kiosk, pavilion. Yeah, pretty sure it's for each completed. So I could build something to try to get money. I just don't like building in this case, but I need to get that out of the way. So, all right, we're just going to have to build a little bit less. So we're going to build... going to build for a little bit more. So we're going to build for 10. Try to build some things to put things in. We definitely need a 2. We don't need a 1. But we'll build some of these smaller things. All right, so we got kiosks and pavilions. We're going to build some of these. We're going to build a size 2. Did I put 10 in already? Yeah, I'm just going to hold until I decide. And then the problem is I could do this again. Maybe I could just save that there. Might be my plan for later in the game. They all have to be different, so I guess I'll build a size 1 building and just spend 10 for now. Although I might be kicking myself. So then I can trigger this to do it again, and I'll build a size 5 structure. So that's going to cost me 20 in total. We'll see what we can do. Oh, that's awesome. Conservation is Dale's day job. If you haven't checked out Dale's channel, Dale the Casual Gamer, it's awesome. He plays through all sorts of games solo. Does a great job. Reminds me of Tom Bodette. That's what I always say. We'll leave the light on for you. But yeah, no, he's super great. Plays Marvel Champions, which is one of the games I love as well. So I'm going to be able to get a card. I guess now I'm just filling up my board. I'm going to place all these pens here. This pavilion, then, there isn't a great spot. So the pavilion will go here and get me 1 appeal. And the kiosk is going to go here because I'm going to fill those ones pretty soon. That's going to give me 1 money per. Part of your day job. That's awesome. I love this game. For anybody tuning in now, this is my #1 game of 2021. I played 3 times in the last couple days, and it totally just jumped to the top. I love it. I love card games. I love strategy. I love thinking through all that. The length of the game could be a little bit of a negative. The complexity, I guess, could be a little bit crazy in terms of all that. And there's a lot kind of trigger, and then it's not a ton of interaction. So if you're really into interaction, this could be a game that might not be your favorite. In terms of that, you're really building your own zoo and trying to see if your zoo can do a little bit better than the other people's. But it's not necessarily, I mean, I guess it's competition by that. Did I get the 4 appeal for placing that? I don't think I ever took 4 appeal, but we're going to assume I did. Actually, I guess I could add these up, right? 4, 11, 24, 29, 32, 35, 40. I start on 20, so that's 60. And I gained 1 from this, so that makes sense that I missed that one. Yep, that was right. Cool. But I just got the 1, so I wouldn't have got an extra $1. Thank you for the good luck as well, Dale. We'll see. We're going to try to get these 2 to meet. All right, so we're going to do the association action. Oh no, did I already place somebody there, or did I just not take them back? I just didn't take them back. So when we do association, we're coming over here. We are also going to pay 10 to increase here by 1. Then we are going to take a cube. We're going to take the one from here, so we get $12. Uh-oh, do we have enough? Yikes, may have fallen a little short on that. And we've got 4, so we're going to go up 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to there. I'm going to take the $5 from that one. Oh, did I fall a little bit short? So maybe I don't want to pay the 10. Because what did I need? 26, and I've got 24. Ah! All right, well, knowing that, we'll just not build this 1 here. I could have done the math, but I was chatting. So we'll do that, so we have just enough. All right, so we're going to place that cube here. That gives us those $12 immediately. It moves us up to here, so now you can see we're starting to close in a little bit. And moves this one to the bottom. Now we can place 2 animals. So we're going to do that. This will be our last action. We're going to build the Dusky Leaf Monkey, who is -3, so will cost us 9. Hopefully I did all this correct. He's going to go in the 2 pen right here, which I'll just flip that because I did draw a card from that one. And he gives us 5 appeal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After finishing the current action, we place any action on space 1. And then this one is going to cost us 17. Look at that, dead on. He's going to go in our 4 spot. He's going to give us 1 conservation and 6 appeal. Ooh, we're getting close. And gain 1, 2, or 3 X tokens for 1, 3, or 5 primate icons. So I've got 1, so I get 1 X token. This is going to slide here, and then anything can move to the bottom. So this is the one we really want. I think sponsors don't matter anymore. And we pass this, so we can take one of these tokens or one of these tokens. I think at this point we want conservation more than other things. So we'll take the Africa, which I think will actually give us that last one, put it here, and gain 2 conservation points. Now that we get to here, we have to get rid of one of these 2 cards. So we're going to get rid of our Naturalist Zoo and keep our large animals, of which we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've moved our way up. Look at this is going well. Whew, I got a little nervous that I was going to show this off poorly, but this is happening now. All right, this cube comes over here, so now we have to pay 12 to do that. We're definitely going to try to trigger that action another time, which we're close here. And we've got just a few. These 2 cards go away. All this stuff slides up. And we gain our income. 30 plus 5 is 35. So we don't get any income because I didn't take anything from there. And money doesn't count anything at the end of the game. It's definitely one of the stranger parts, I suppose, but it'll work. All right. So now I think we could try to fill this. Well, that's a lot of spaces to fill. We could build 2 1s. Oh, sorry, we get another $2 right here. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be worth trying to fill it. So we're just going to draw cards. We could snap and take something we know we definitely want. So we could take this petting zoo, because that's just going to give us 6 appeal. We could take, that's for primates, but we don't have anything for that. We could take this one. It's adjacent to rocks. Oh, this could be good. That's a large animal, although we're at 4. Oh, if we get to 5. Okay. All right. So we're going to take this one into our hand, and that might actually work out great. Move these up. This comes back to us. Oh, is this our last action of the game? Oh, no. All right. So we have to figure out. I just realized because this is round 6. All right. So we can either do association, and we've got all the continents represented. So we can get 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I think is going to give us the win. Or we can build these 2, which is going to give us 13, which will put us here, which is basically the same differential. Oh, I wish I had one more action. Add the base ones to my hand. Place a card from your hand on this to gain 2. Oh, if I had one more action, I could do both of those. All right. Well, I guess buying one there is going to make more sense. So that would be fun to fill in my park. This is going to give me one here, though. Oh, I would have done really well. All right, well, we'll keep it easy. So we're going to spend the X. We're going to do this at level 5. We're going to put this here. We're going to take a cube from here. I don't think any of these are going to matter. Get another worker. We'll put it here because we have all 5 represented. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got a little ladybug crawling across in my park here. Oh, push that cube off. Hello. So that will do that. When we uncover this, we get another worker. Oh, we were at level 5. So then we'll pay 12. And we will gain another conservation to go to here. That will trigger the end of the game. And I forget what I do. At the end of the break, click the time. The game ends after 6 rounds when only 2 tokens are left. A moved The bottom one, do not trigger another break, but do the final scoring instead. All right. So we go to final scoring. So these cards are going to get set aside. Oh, if I just could have placed these two animals, that would have been 13 more appeal. I would have been over here. Would have been a no-brainer. All right. So final score, we're going to look at our card here. I know these cards should slide up. So this one says if we have 4 large animals, 1, 2, 3, 4, we get 3 conservation. Hey, look, we won. And then we'll just look through anything here to see if we have any endgame scoring. And I think animals generally don't. So I did not show off a lot of that. Usually sponsors do. I don't have any more endgame scoring. So I would essentially take this one and move it to the far right. And my score would be 72 minus 67 because I'm in the positive. Plus 5, scored 5 points. That is the game. And that's how it works. So that is a successful win in solo because I got those 2 to cross. So again, in future games, what I could do is start at 0 and then instead of starting at 20, I could start at 10. If I felt like that was too easy, I would have ended up at minus 5. But man, I was 1 action short of trying to figure all that out. So that build action may have been the one that sent me off. Then I could have done something better. Oh, did I have space for those last two? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm so concerned over that. But there you go. That is Ark Nova. That is the game. Super fun. In multiplayer, again, the only difference is that you've got this break track. And based on 2, 3, or 4 players, when you're taking those breaks, this moves up. And then when it gets to the end, you basically do the same thing. That player gets an X. And then you go through all of these things that we just did. The only thing you don't do is put tokens over here to simulate other players doing that. So it's really the same game. And then the end of the game is not rounds. The end of the game is when somebody's 2 markers cross. Then everybody else gets 1 more turn, and you do that final scoring, of which you saw was very little. I scored a couple conservation points off of my card. Oftentimes, cards will have them like, oh, that one's immediate. So cards will have those things here with this brown scoring on the bottom. But that is Ark Nova. That is my favorite game of 2021. I absolutely adore it. People will compare it to other games, Underwater Cities, Terraforming Mars. It's definitely in that vein. It's definitely in that make your cards work, play all the abilities, figure that out. So if you like those kind of games, you'll probably like this kind of game. The first game, there's a lot of reading, a lot of text, a lot of things to figuring out, but it actually is really easy. At the end of the day, you're just triggering one of these cards and then doing what your cards say and going through those symbols. There's a great sheet, albeit there is only one, but it tells you what everything does. It's not often, usually on other players' turns. I was just referencing the sheet to see what things do. And the solo mode is conveniently right on the back if that's something that you are highly interested in. So again, this should be out in Europe and maybe some other places. In North America, it's releasing in early 2022. We will have copies in our store. Come down, you can play with me or order from your local store otherwise. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments down below, and I will answer them as we go. Thanks for bearing with me and a little bit of my cold. I wish you all a happy new year. I'm the Brandt, and until next time, I hope you step into the